A new romance rumor in Genoa City is already dividing fans, and if this story goes where some viewers think it might, it could create even more tension than anyone expected. Just when it seemed like Nate Hastings might finally reconnect with someone from his past, another possibility is suddenly entering the picture, and not everyone is happy about it. Some fans are already calling the potential pairing awkward. Others think it could spark exactly the kind of messy emotional drama this show thrives on. But if Nate really starts getting closer to Dr. Stephanie Simmons, what happens when Holden Novak finds out? And could this new connection push Nate into a dangerous emotional situation he never saw coming? The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Nate Hastings may soon face another major shift in his love life, because right now, his romantic future feels more uncertain than ever. For a while, it looked like Nate and Audra Charles had a real chance at building something stable together. Their chemistry was strong, and despite Audra's flaws, there were moments when it genuinely seemed like she cared deeply about Nate. But in classic Genoa City fashion, secrets and manipulation eventually destroyed what they had. Audra's constant schemes became too much for Nate to ignore. Trust matters to him, and once that trust was broken, there was no easy way back. Even though Audra later tried to repair the damage and win Nate over again, the emotional wounds were already too deep. Nate made it clear that he could not continue building a future with someone he no longer believed in completely. And honestly, many viewers understood his decision. Nate has spent years trying to prove that he is more than his mistakes. He wants maturity, honesty, and peace in his personal life. After everything he has gone through with family drama, career problems, and romantic disappointment, it makes sense that he would become more careful about who he allows close to his heart. That is partly why his growing connection with Victoria Newman started catching attention. Over recent months, there were several moments that hinted the show might slowly be rebuilding romantic tension between Victoria and Nate. Their scenes carried warmth, comfort, and emotional understanding. Unlike Nate's chaotic relationship with Audra, his dynamic with Victoria felt calmer and more grounded. Some fans even believed a reunion was inevitable. But then everything changed once the fake Lily Winters kidnapping chaos exploded across Genoa City. That situation disrupted nearly every relationship connected to the storyline. Suddenly, emotions became complicated again, priorities shifted, people became distracted by secrets, investigations, and emotional fallout. And just like that, the momentum between Victoria and Nate seemed to disappear almost overnight. Now Nate finds himself in a very interesting position. He is single, emotionally vulnerable, and possibly ready for a completely unexpected new chapter. That is where Dr. Stephanie Simmons enters the conversation. Social media discussions about Nate and Stephanie have been growing louder recently, and the reactions have been extremely mixed. Some viewers are curious about the possibility, others absolutely hate the idea, but whether fans support it or not, people are definitely talking about it, and in the soap world, strong reactions usually mean the writers are paying attention. One thing that stands out is that Nate and Stephanie actually had surprisingly natural chemistry during their earlier scenes together. When Stephanie returned to town and shared a meal with Nate, their interactions felt easy and relaxed. There was warmth there, conversation flowed naturally, neither character appeared uncomfortable or forced around the other. And sometimes that matters more than explosive passion. Soap relationships often succeed because viewers enjoy watching two characters simply connect emotionally. Nate and Stephanie already seem capable of doing that. They understand each other professionally, they communicate well, and there is a maturity in their scenes that some viewers may actually appreciate. Of course, not everyone agrees. Several fans online are already pushing back hard against the idea of Nate and Stephanie becoming romantic. One viewer even commented that the show needs to stop creating awkward mismatches just to recycle characters into random relationships that lead nowhere. That frustration comes from longtime viewers who remember pairings from years ago that never truly worked. In soaps, chemistry is everything. If fans do not emotionally believe in a couple, the relationship can quickly become painful to watch instead of exciting. Another viewer said they would rather see Nate paired with Philly's Summers before seeing him with Stephanie. That comment alone shows how divided the audience currently is. And perhaps the most interesting fan reaction involved someone suggesting the show should simply bring Alina back instead. That response may say a lot about how some viewers still see Nate's romantic history. Alina once represented stability and emotional sincerity in Nate's life. Their relationship had heartbreak too, but many fans still remember them as one of Nate's more believable romantic connections. Even now, there are viewers who think Alina remains the best match for him. So if the writers truly move forward with Stephanie instead, they may need to work hard convincing skeptical fans that this relationship deserves a real chance. Still, there is another layer to this story that could make things far more dramatic. Stephanie is friends with Nate's mother, Olivia Winters. Now, on the surface, that could sound awkward, and honestly, it probably would create uncomfortable moments if Olivia were actively around in Genoa City all the time. But since Olivia is not currently on canvas, the situation becomes easier for the show to navigate. However, Olivia is not the real problem here. Holden Novak is. If Nate and Stephanie became romantically involved, Holden would almost certainly have a strong reaction. And based on the tension that already exists between Holden and Nate, this could ignite an entirely new conflict between them. That possibility is exactly why some fans believe the storyline could become entertaining. Soap operas thrive on emotional complications, family tension, jealousy, and rivalry. A romance between Nate and Stephanie would immediately place Holden in an impossible emotional position. On one side, there is his mother. On the other side, there is a man he already struggles to fully trust. And Stephanie herself could end up trapped directly in the middle. That kind of emotional triangle creates opportunities for confrontation, resentment, loyalty tests, and explosive arguments. Even if the romance starts casually, the fallout could spread quickly through multiple relationships. It also helps that Stephanie appears to be sticking around beyond the Malcolm Winters story arc. That detail matters. Soap characters who remain on canvas usually need stronger personal storylines eventually. Romantic drama is often the fastest way to integrate them more deeply into the core cast. If Stephanie stays in Genoa City long term, there is a strong chance the writers will eventually explore her love life more seriously. Nate could easily become part of that plans. And honestly, the timing may actually work in the storyline's favor. Nate currently feels emotionally disconnected from his past relationships. Audra betrayed him. Victoria's situation became complicated again. He may be at a point where he wants something entirely different from the chaos he has experienced recently. Stephanie, meanwhile, brings maturity and calm energy into scenes. That combination could either create a surprisingly strong romance or a relationship that falls apart the moment emotional pressure hits. Because let us be honest about one thing. Even if Nate and Stephanie only shared a brief kiss or a one-night stand, the emotional consequences would probably spread quickly through Genoa City. Holden would react, rumors would spread, people would choose sides, and suddenly a simple romantic moment could turn into a much larger emotional mess. That is exactly the kind of slow-burning soap drama Y&R often loves exploring. At the same time, there is still a real chance this never develops beyond friendship. Sometimes the writers test chemistry between characters without fully committing to romance. Nate and Stephanie may simply continue sharing supportive scenes without crossing into deeper emotional territory. But because fans are already discussing the possibility online, the idea now exists in viewers' minds, and that alone creates intrigue moving forward. Another important factor is audience age and expectations. Many longtime Y&R viewers prefer relationships that feel emotionally believable instead of rushed. They want meaningful conversations, trust, vulnerability, and chemistry that grows naturally over time. If the show handles Nate and Stephanie carefully, some skeptical fans could eventually warm up to the pairing. But if the writing feels forced, viewers may reject it immediately. That is the challenge soaps constantly face when introducing unexpected couples. And right now, audience reactions already reveal a major divide. Some viewers are open to seeing something fresh. Others think the show should stop experimenting and instead focus on restoring stronger past romances like Nate and Elena. There is also the Victoria question still hanging in the background. Even though recent chaos slowed things down between Victoria and Nate, that emotional connection did not completely disappear. The show could easily revisit it later. Victoria and Nate still share unresolved chemistry, and in soaps, unresolved chemistry rarely stays buried forever. So if Stephanie enters Nate's romantic orbit now, it could create even more complications later if Victoria starts realizing she still has feelings for him. That possibility alone could create another emotional triangle. And in Genoa City, emotional triangles almost always lead to heartbreak for someone. At the center of all this is Nate himself, a character who seems desperate for emotional clarity but keeps getting pulled into increasingly complicated situations. Whether it is Audra's manipulation, Victoria's complicated world, or now Stephanie's possible involvement, Nate never seems able to find lasting peace in romance. Maybe that is exactly why fans continue rooting for him. Viewers often connect most deeply with characters who keep trying to find happiness despite repeated disappointment. Nate has flaws, but he also wants something genuine. That emotional sincerity makes audiences care about what happens to him next. Now the question becomes whether Stephanie could truly offer him the stability he has been missing, or whether this potential romance would simply become another painful chapter in his complicated love life. For now, nothing is officially confirmed, but the possibility is definitely out there, and fans are already debating whether this would become an exciting new direction or another awkward mismatch destined to fail. One thing is certain, though, the young and the restless clearly is not finished shaking up relationships in Genoa City. Love lives are changing, emotional alliances are shifting, old feelings are resurfacing, and if Nate and Stephanie move even one step closer romantically, the fallout could spread much further than either of them expects. The Young and the Restless spoilers say more romantic shakeups are still ahead on the CBS soap, so fans should stay tuned and watch carefully to see where this unexpected connection leads next.